This is Steven with HBK Hosting, and in this video I'm going to show you how to back up your website with WP Duplicator. Some people might ask me why I would use WP Duplicator and not a plugin like Backup Buddy. The number one reason is WP Duplicator doesn't cost anything, and Backup Buddy doesn't do anything that it doesn't do that makes it worth paying for, in my opinion. And another thing to mention is if you're with HBK Hosting, there is no reason to use an automatic backup plugin like Backup Buddy, because all it's doing is backing up your WordPress site and your database, and it can upload it to the cloud. What HBK Hosting does is we automatically back the websites up to full cPanel accounts. See, cPanel is not only just your WordPress site and your database, it's all your emails and your account hosting files. That's something that Backup Buddy just doesn't do, and Duplicator doesn't do that. This is just for a WordPress site. Now, why you'd want to do this is the most common reason to want to know how to back up your website like this is if you wanted to transfer it to another host, and that's why we're showing you this. This is the best way to, if you're trying us out for a free trial, or if you're transferring your site to us and you prefer to do it yourself instead of having us do it, this is the best way to do it. Now, this works on a majority of hosts. That's what it's designed to do. If it doesn't work on your host, that's probably a pretty good sign you want to change hosts, because when Duplicator doesn't work, usually the reason for this is because of restrictive settings in the PHP, whether it be memory limitations or maximum execution time for PHP scripts. Usually they're the two ones that do it the most, and they'll cause this plugin to not work right, and then it'll fail. Now, if that's the case, you're going to have to do a manual backup. You're either going to have to do it through cPanel. If you don't have cPanel, you're going to have to do it through your web host control panel, the file manager, and you're going to have to compress your entire WordPress site, back your database up separately, and send both of those. But we can help you with that. So to get started with WP Duplicator, because this is the easiest way to do it, we want to go to Plugins and click Add New. The next screen, we're going to want to type Duplicator up here. Hit Enter. It's going to show us this plugin. This is the one we're looking for. It has 1 million downloads. It's made by Life in the Grid. It's called Duplicator. I believe it used to be called WP Duplicator, but they must have changed the name. You hit Install Now. Click OK. And then Activate Plugin. Now we're going to get a new menu option down here. Right there. Duplicator. So you want to just click on this. You're not going to get the empty to cache button. That's a different plugin doing that. But at any rate, you're going to see that you have no packages. You hit Create New. This is pretty easy. You don't really want to mess with any of these options. The only one worth mentioning is this one under Archive, even though 9 times out of 10 you're not going to need this. But if your WordPress site is not using the normal site structure where it's in your root public HTML folder, if it's in some other folder, and there are other folders within that folder that you don't want backed up, you would enable this and type in those folders just as it tells you to, full path to directory. We're not going to mess with that. Most of the time you're not going to need to anyway. So at this point in time, when you get to this Create New screen here, you're just going to want to hit the Next button. Right here. It's going to scan your site like so. Usually you can just warn this. It's going to tell you what it doesn't like here. It doesn't like open baster, and it doesn't like the maximum execution time. I'm going to bet you it's going to work. It'll also tell you different errors here. Typically you're not going to get good across the board, but the more warnings you have, the less chance it's going to work right. We have optimized hosting for WordPress. One of the features that works with our hosting is this plugin. We use this all the time. So we're going to hit Build, and I'm going to pause this while this is happening so it doesn't take up any of your time. When it's finished, you're going to get a screen like this. If you do not see this screen, you can go back to the Packages section here and see if you have a failed one. Click the checkbox back next to it and delete it, and try again. If you try this a few times and it doesn't work, the chances are your host has too restrictive of settings and you cannot use this plugin on your host. If that's the case, then you're trying a trial, or you're trying to move your website to us, you can just open a support ticket or contact us, and will help you, because then backing up your site is quite different at that point in time. But what you'd want to do is click on the installer and the archive, and you need both of those files. The archive is your actual website. The installer will be a file that ends with the extension .php. It'll be installer.php, and what that is the script that you copy to the new host with this archive, and this will uncompress and install this archive and replicate your WordPress site, install the database, do everything for you. All you have to do is fill out some basic information. If you're moving your website to HPK hosting or trying this out for a trial, we would need both of these files, the installer.php file and the archive zip file that you're going to get from clicking on this. And that is all there is to it. You should now see this here, or you can go back at any point in time and click installer and archive and download this again. To delete it, you click the checkbox, you click the down arrow here, you click delete, and then you hit apply. It'll ask you if you want to, and you hit yes if you want to delete it. And that's how you use WP Duplicator.